And welcome to another edition of Survival Warehouse Library. I'm John Melandrid, and our sponsor is survivalwarehouse.com, where you can get over 3,000 products. Today we're going to show you the art of how to make a fire. And I know that sounds funny, but there are so many different ways to do it. Most people will have just a plain lighter. And sure, that's an easy, simple way of starting a fire. Another way, you can always have little fire sticks. And of course, just light the fire stick. Has a little bit of wax on it. Voila, same thing. Pretty simple basics here. You can also pre-make stuff. This is just 100% cotton fabric, and it's been soaked in a little bit of wax. This is kind of like your pre-made. And you can always rip a piece off without the wind. And it just lights on fire. So those are little pre-made ones that you can take camping or anything else. So now we're going to get a little bit more creative, because you're saying to yourself, okay, what if I don't have a fire starter? That's when it gets a little bit more trickier. You can always take and have magnesium. And it's pretty basic. So you take and you're just scraping the magnesium off. So you get a little pile. God damn it. And so it's pretty simple. The more magnesium you use, the longer and the better it's going to work. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, how many people carry magnesium with them? Well, most campers, backpackers, or anything should. They're extremely cheap. You can pick them up at Harbor Freight, anything like that. So it doesn't cost much. Another thing is char cloth. And I explained this in a previous video. You should never go anywhere without char cloth, or at least knowing how to make it, because it is so simple to ignite this stuff. You can sit back, have a magnifying glass, for instance. This was actually taken out of an old pair of binoculars. And you just concentrate your beam. It's burning just like a mantle. Voila. But then you're probably telling yourself, how many people keep a magnifying glass? Well, I always do. So let's go to something a little bit different. For instance, you're at home. There's no power, no nothing. You want to go outside to cook something. A lot of people have 9-volt batteries. These 9 volts, you can get them, they're in most smoke alarms. A lot of people have steel wool. This was actually a steel wool sponge with soap on it, that you use, a scrubbing pad. And you can take your char cloth, take your 9-volt battery, rub it along and it starts creating little sparks. Grab some, stick it in. Voila. Steel wool and a 9-volt battery. It's that simple. So, let's say you're out camping. You wouldn't have a 9-volt battery, now would you? So what if you don't have a 9-volt battery? Well, hopefully you still have your char cloth. Because what's great about char cloth is as long as you have a flint or something to strike it, then it works. Because that's all it takes is one little spark to set this off. And it gets hot just like a mantle of a lantern. So it's very, very effective. Another thing you can do is most people have cotton in a first aid kit. So if you put Vaseline on this, chapstick, anything like that, it's very simple. Still don't need a lighter, as long as you got flint. And it's very effective. It gets extremely hot. So flint is one thing you always want to keep. I'm a firm believer in it. But let's say you don't have flint. Most people have a pocket knife. So if you get like a piece of quartz or a rock that has quartz in it, you can do the same thing by striking it. And you get spark. It takes a little bit longer, but if you put it down and you have a pile like magnesium, if you got your charcoal cloth, if you got a cotton ball that's been wiped with a little bit of Vaseline, that's all you need. So in the wild, you can definitely do it. That's why I really recommend watching the other video on how to make char cloth. Now, Yet say you're in the extreme wild. You don't have this. I have heard that you could do a fire by a water bottle. I've heard you could do it with a Coke can or beer can. I have tried those things and I'm not a believer in that. I don't think those YouTubers are actually telling the truth because I tested it. But a bag. People always have sandwich bags. As long as it's a clear bag, it doesn't matter if it's a Ziploc, if it's plastic wrap, anything that's clear. Now another thing some YouTubers want to try to pull off on you is that you can pee in this, urinate, and it would do the same thing. That is correct as long as you are not dehydrated. If you're dehydrated and you have a lot of yellow in your urine, it's not effective. You know, that's a little bit of a play game that they do. It has to be clear. So what you do is you twist it. Take some char cloth because it's dark, doesn't take much. And basically it's the same as a magnifying glass. You have to play with it until you get a good focal point. See where that beam is? The more concentrated the beam, the better. And you place it over. And this could take, till you get the angle right, up to about 10 minutes. I've done it within 2 minutes. Sometimes it takes 10 minutes. And this, I'm just using this board so you can actually check on that beam. And cut. Doing it with a mirror or the bag, you really have to look at your char cloth because sometimes it's burning without you knowing it. That's why with the bag trick, you have to really take and concentrate that beam and kind of every now and then block it a little bit to see it. If you see the slightest little glow, it's ready. Because sometimes you don't actually realize it and it's already going on you. So I hope you enjoyed this edition of How to Start a Fire and hope this helps you. Don't believe everything you see on YouTube. Check the facts, and more importantly, go out there and test it yourself. This is another edition of Survival Warehouse Library. Hope to see other videos, and be sure to visit our sponsor, survivalwarehouse.com. This is John Melandrid. I'll see you on the next video.